everyone, Shauna from Style Staging and Design. Thank you for joining me. So I've been doing a few different DIY videos over the days and weeks and years. And one commonality has been, in case you haven't noticed, succulents. So I've talked a lot about the succulents I found at various dollar stores and how valuable they are for staging, design, and crafting. So I wanted to give you some examples of what specifically you can do with some of these to inspire you. Some things are very, very simple. Other things you can get really, really expansive and involved with. So hopefully I will do a bit of both, but I am really listening to your feedback. You want shorter videos. The challenge for me with that is that I want you to have the content so that you can take these away and essentially just go and reproduce them or something similar. So I'll try not to leave out too many details, but I hear you. I want to make sure that they are short and concise for you as well. So let's get to it. So really for this project, all you need are some fake succulents. There's a few more items involved. You do need a container. So as you can see, I have a variety of different containers here. I have some pre-made because we want to save on time, and one that I'm going to do today as a bit of a demo to show you quickly. So let's talk about these pre-made ones because some of them are very, very quick and easy. This little guy I picked up from the dollar store. It is a little terrarium, plastic one. And I've just added some colored stone in there. It's kind of like a goldy color. I think I got these stones from Indigo or Michael's. And the succulent is from the dollar store. So literally just place them in there like under 2 minutes. Very, very easy. This guy, also very easy, more about the container. I was going for a kind of a minimalist look. So you really want to have an idea about your crafting project ahead of time. Get a feel for what do I want to achieve with this look? Do I want a super crowded, tons of succulents look like these? Or do I want it to kind of stand alone and have it highlighted with some other natural items, hence the stones? So for this one, I literally just put this guy in there. Noticing his height, he's just below the lip of the top of this container, which is ideal. So that's what you want. You don't want it higher or it's really going to show and it won't kind of look cohesive. Then I dumped just a bunch of rocks, small ones, so because of the smallness of the succulent to balance it out. And there you have it. I'll give you a bit of a close-up here. Very, very quick and easy. Okay, so this guy is from actually a while back. Let me just see if I can scooch the table over so you can see it a little bit better because he is kind of broken through my travels. But to the eye, maybe you can't tell. Yay. So this guy I wanted to do a bit of both. I wanted it quite crowded with the succulents in there, have a different tones of color, but also be able to see the rock underneath it. What I did here was styrofoam in the bottom. You always want to have your filler. If you have a lot of rocks, you can definitely fill it up with rocks. But I'll warn you, it will be very, very heavy and kind of a waste of rocks. You can really spread those rocks throughout your decor in a lot more uses if you fill the bottom with something else. My go-to is styrofoam because I do have a fair bit of it. I like to collect it because it comes in packaging and things anyways, and it's horrible in our landfill. So you might as well reuse it. Create something for your best good. So this one, what I did was pre-design it, as I will show you with the basket, and then put the styrofoam in, place the items back in there, make sure I had everything where I wanted it, take the items out, put tons of glue on the top layer, glue the rocks in, put the succulents back in. So that way it looks very, very cohesive and you're not having to kind of tuck the rocks in here and there while it's already set. You're essentially laying the rocks first, then you're putting your succulents on top. Okay, so this big guy I wanted to show you as well because I'm going to be working on the basket today. These two baskets were given to me by a friend of mine. Thank you, Maria, for purging and sharing. And so yeah, I've kept them around. This guy I wanted to show you because I haven't set the items in there, I've just placed them. Because I will be using a lot of these succulents for staging and design work, I don't want to lock them in with glue and so that they're set and I can't reuse them. So what I've done with these is just place the items. You can kind of see probably some of them are still in pots. So that color is gonna come through, but because they're nestled so many in there, I'm not too worried about it in terms of, like I said, I'm going to be pulling these out and using them in different projects and items or crafting items and things, so not a big deal. But if this is your end game, then you're gonna want to spend a little bit more time on the aesthetics underneath the succulent so that when people are walking by, they're not noticing the little pots underneath. So with this style, what I was going for is you almost technically want to have a focal point. So we like the tall things as your focal point and then kind of a cascading look around it. So I started with this super spiky guy at the back. I wanted to have it tall at the back and then more cascading towards the front. You could also go for a look very, very different, taking that out and having it just succulents in around the same height and keeping it very low and going with more color and texture would work as well. So I'll bring this a little bit closer so you can see a better idea of kind of what I was going for there. And you can tell now that they are not all attached, which, like I said, for this purpose, not a big deal. For your purposes, you're going to want to make sure that they're all kind of locked in there a little bit more. Okay, this one I wanted to show you because most of us have these types of vases for our cut flowers and things like that around the house. Very, very easy to do. I ran out of small rocks, as you can probably tell with this project. So I've just added some larger ones at the bottom, put the smaller ones at the top, and literally this guy is just, I bought him like this at the dollar store. Easy peasy. I mean, this is like under 2 minutes, right? Throw the rocks in, throw this guy in the middle, give it a bit of a shake to settle it in there, and there you have it. This is, I mean, very simple, but can be used in a lot of different spaces. Typically I have some faux forsythia in this one as well. It looks really pretty with the yellow. Okay, mind your ears for a second. I'm just going to scoot the table over for the sake of filming so that we can focus a little bit more on this project. So I did go ahead and get it started because for timing's sake, I wanted to have an idea of the layout and the outcome of what it's going to look like. I highly recommend you do this as well. You don't want to just start gluing things in because as you'll find when you step back, spend some time looking at it, oh, actually this one will look better there, and you want to kind of play with it a little bit till you are settled. At least that's how my brain works. So what you're going to need for this project, like I said, is a container. Any container. As you can see, I'm using a basket. Then you're going to want some kind of filler. So for me, like I said, the styrofoam is ideal because you can stick these right into it, get an idea for where they're playing or where they're lying, and then you can move them around. It's very easy to take them in and out. If you're unhappy with it, gives you some room to play, essentially. So the look I was going for with this one was a tall middle. The previous one you saw was tall at the back. So it would have been more like the focal point at the back here, closer to me, and everything else to the front. But I wanted to also have one where, you know, it could essentially be a centerpiece where people are walking all the way around it, whereas my other one, it's more, you know, tucked into a wall or a corner from that back angled accent to this one being all the way around. So the other piece to this is, and a piece of design that I'm going to share with you, is that when you have multiples of things, the eye, it's really settling for the eye to have like items. So you do want to have some that are identical because that will help the eye kind of go, oh yes, I've seen this before. Okay, there it is there too. And a little bit of asymmetry to it. When you have all sorts of different textures and colors and things, it can be overstimulating, and so you want to stay away from that as well. So with this piece, I'm going to hold it up closer so you can see. So there are some items. These two guys are the same. Then these two on either side are also the same, but in opposite. So this one is over here. The same one to this one is over here. So essentially from this side, these two spikies look different, but their sames are on this side, opposite. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is take everything out because I really want to show you start to finish here. So I've placed them all, so now I can just kind of take them out because I remember slightly kind of sort of where they were. But part of the fun in this too is when you put them back, you may find different spots that you like things in. But like I said, it's just fun to play in the beginning, and you get to your end result eventually. Or you just get sick of it and move on, depending on how your brain works. Okay, so now you should be able to see what I started with. So I didn't have tons of styrofoam, so what I did was, I'm just going to take this all out so you can really see. I layered it with some brown paper in the bottom there, crammed these two guys in so I know I've got a strong base, they're not budging. So even though these two are kind of not as structurally sound in there, I have tucked them in there pretty good, but they do have some movement, as I'm sure you're about to see. Yeah. So these guys kind of want to pop up a bit, so I'm just going to play with them a little bit. Forgive me for the timing. There we go. Now we're happier. So now they are wedged in there and ready to go. So I'm just looking around at all of my succulents. Every single succulent that is going into here today was purchased from a dollar store. Most of them, I think, started at about $1.25, and then they go up from there. I don't think any of these were $4. So, oh, my mistake. This guy, decided to come apart on me. This guy is actually from IKEA, this little grass guy. So he came in like a 4-inch black pot, like most of the IKEA plants do, and I just ripped him on out of there and made him more versatile. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently this time because, like I said, you may want to lock yours in, and this one I'm going to lock into in terms of making it 100% like done and not being able to pull things out of it as much. That said, I will still be able to pull some of these succulents out and reuse them if I want to, but also the idea is to have it as a centerpiece as one. So what I'm going to do to alleviate the white, you don't want white underneath here because you may see it through the sides, and you'll definitely see it at some point through any gaps in the top. So, learn the hard way. That's why you do the demos before you get on video. I did not like seeing the white underneath it, but I also didn't want to lose a bunch of money on rocks that you're not going to really see either, or maybe one or two poking through. So, ta-da! Hence, my black tissue paper. So black will look more grounding for the eye. It will also look like there's a solid base in here, and your eye won't be as tricked or kind of drawn to it as the white. We're definitely drawn to white, which is a good thing in a lot of spaces, but not when you're trying to highlight other things that are not white. Okay, so now I have a nestled black insert, and I'm ready to get going. So all of these have some kind of point on them. This one's so lovely, has a really strong point on it, and I'm literally going to just center it in the middle and plop it down. So you can see it's a little bit wobbly. You can add glue to that if you want to. I'm not going to do that today. I've not brought a single stitch of glue with me today because I do want to just get through this demo and move forward with it. And I want to be able to take them out sooner or later as well. So he will get locked in just by the other succulents that I'm adding there because it's going to be such a tight knit little family of succulents in here. So then, like I said, I kind of decided on my like-minded ones, or my same-sames. These two are the same. So instead of putting them together, or even on the same side for asymmetry, I want to put them opposite, just the way I've decided I want it. So when I look on the top, you're going to see still some similarities in these two, but your eye's not going to go, oh, same here, oh, and kind of have that piece. I don't love all asymmetrical. I like a blend, but I also want my eye to be resting somewhere and comforted by the asymmetry as well. So super, super simple. These ones aren't even actually going into the styrofoam. They're just tucked beside the styrofoam. Now I'm going to go to my next two matching pairs, which are these ones. I really like these ones because of the different color that they bring in, a little bit lighter. They're going to look great against the black, pop a little bit more, but also a lot of the other ones that I chose were quite dark. So these are really gonna pop out and have a nice contrast to them too. So I'm just gonna put them right at the base of our spiky guy. And that one you can hear going in. So you know you got a good lock in there. And one thing I noticed with this other big one is that when, well actually with both, when you start to push them in and you're pushing, you're adding in, you're pushing and you're adding, sometimes what happens is the ones you've already put in there start to get squished down a little bit. And with these bouquets, you really want, you want it to be as lifelike as possible, especially when you're not using real lifelike plants. So in order to do that, the best way to kind of simulate lifelike is to have the succulents coming up and out a bit, like as if they're reaching for the sun like they do naturally. So just be mindful of that, even though these are quite high up. As I start adding, they're going to squish down and I'm going to have to lift them a little bit to make sure we still have the kind of overflowing, reaching for the sunlight kind of look. Okay, now I've got two of these big dark guys. And these ones I'm not going to put in the same spot, but I'm going to do the opposite so that we still have some fun for the eye. There we go. And then as you get in there and you're adding more and more, you will start to get an idea for what you like in terms of what's in front, what's behind, what's nestled into what. If I start to notice there's too much dark in here, then I'll probably pull these lighter ones out or maybe move some lighter ones around so that the contrast isn't all dark going on in there. Okay, I think I am out. Oh no, I've got two more that are the same, these spiky guys. So another piece to design that I like to do is texture. I love to mix different textures. But something that I've learned is too much texture is also overstimulating. So just like too much color, too much texture, unless it's the same texture, can be very distracting and overstimulating for the eye as well. So because I already have lots of spiky things in here, these simulate almost like the same family. And they're a little bit brighter. So I'm gonna put them actually in here, closer to this guy. And even though I had it all laid out before, you know, I've totally forgotten where I put everything previously. So I'm just gonna throw them on either side of this for lack of remembering where they were before. And now I have kind of a bunch of spikies together, which is kind of a cool look as well. All right, oh, here are two the same as well. I really love the color tones in these. I don't know if you can see them. Oh yeah, there we go. They're lighter green with a slight little pinky tone to them. And I'm gonna put them on opposite spots, but I really want them to be highlighted front and center because they bring such a nice warmth and kind of sunny feeling to them. So we'll nestle that guy in there. These ones do not have spikes, they're actually clips. So, you know, your corsage. Haven't done that, but yeah, it's not too shabby. But yeah, clips instead of spikes for them. So it's a little bit different. And then while you're putting them in there too, you can move these around. So in terms of like even the succulent, I wonder if I have one that I can show you. Here's one. So this one is not a paired one. It doesn't have a partner, but as you can see, so sometimes they get kind of squished together and they no longer look like succulents. Let me see if I can make that happen for you. So yeah, this looks very different than if you just kind of start to spread open the leaves around a little bit where it looks a little bit more natural. And that looks a little bit more of a full succulent than it all squished together, which doesn't look very realistic. In my view anyways. All right, I'm gonna put this other little guy who has some purple, mauvey kind of purple tones in it as well, right under here. So he's gonna go under, and I'm gonna pull some of these up now so that the lighter ones are fuller and more to the front. That way our eye will see them. a little bit faster. There we go. I'm happy with that. You can see the clip in the bottom though, so I'm not happy with that. There we go. That looks like close to done on this side. Shimmy this around a little bit more. Some of these can go further in to nestle. And then we have this side to work on. So I'm going to pull him up because I like the lightness. Put the darker one to the back because there's a fair bit of darkness going on here. And then we will add a couple of spikies. So when I look at these, I'm going to try and decide what I want the contrast to be. So this one's quite dark. Let's try them both in the different spots like that. This guy's kind of squished. Whoops. All right, well, that's gone forever. At least in the world of film. I'll just pull something else out of my sleeve here and add it in the front. There you go. Now we're really getting down to creativity in the moment, which is more realistic too, so love it. Okay, I don't love this guy, so I'm going to nestle him further back. And I do love this guy, so I want him to show up more in the front. Ta-da! So there is my succulent basket. Different on both sides, but lots of similar plants in there. And like I said, they're all kind of coming out and towards the sun. And if they start to go down as days progress, you can kind of lift them up. If your styrofoam is sinking, you can always go in there underneath, kind of tuck something else underneath to get the volume as well. So give this a try. I want to see your demo, see what your tips and tricks are as well. And I hope you enjoyed this. So Succulent 101. Now you know what to do with all those succulents if you can find them at the dollar store after I've been there. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Take care. Shonda from Style Staging and Design. Be well and be safe. Thank you.